SLAM is a tool that every miner should use before a task, during a task, and after a task, no matter the size or the complexity. Simply stop to think about the tasks. Take a few seconds to look around the area and identify any hazards for each step. Analyze whether you have the proper knowledge, training, and tools. And manage the hazards by removing or controlling them and using proper equipment. On the other hand, SMART is a tool used by mine management that involves miners at all levels of the process. The first key step is to develop a team or teams comprised of management and miners. Yesterday, the president of our company selected the members of our first team. SMART is a process that never stops. It continues to focus and refocus on specific risks and tasks in the mine to provide long-term solutions. Our team will take the lead in this process and see that it is carried out. The first thing our team will do is stop. Isolate each step in the task to identify past and potential accidents, injuries, and violations. Once the team does this for a particular task, they will present their findings to all our miners. Each miner will be given the chance to comment, and the team will incorporate their input. Then the task is measured by evaluating the risks and the barriers that have allowed the hazards to cause injuries. For example, the team may focus on trips and falls, strains, cutting or pinching hazards, severity, how serious the hazard is, probability, how likely it is to cause an accident, cause, what human or physical barriers have allowed the hazard to cause an injury. After measuring, the team will once again present their findings to our miners. Each miner will be given the chance to comment, and the team will incorporate their input. The next step is to act by implementing controls to minimize or eliminate any hazards that make the risk unacceptable. Before controls are implemented, you will again be given the opportunity to comment. Miners conduct reviews by observing each other during the course of a normal work shift. The results of that observation will be tallied and shared with you. Last and most importantly, behavior-based programs are developed with the help of our miners who are trained in these newly established programs. Everyone's name's in a hat. Pick one, Ashley. Thank you. The winner is Ed.
Congratulations.
Don't laugh yet, guys. I'll get to all of you eventually. Okay, that's it. Let's go to work.
I finished my pre-check, Rick. Are you ready?
Problem?
Oh, I've messed up already, haven't I?
Hey, I'm just observing. Why don't you tell me what you were thinking?
Well, when I started the climb, I realized it would be hard for me to keep a three-point contact with the thermos under my arm. So let me give it to you to hold.
That's good, Ed. You stopped, you looked over the situation, you analyzed the hazard, and then you managed the problem. SLAM. It's like a little checklist to help you think about what you do every day. But you're going to have to attach a rope to that rail up there or use some other method to pull this thermos up if I'm not around.
Okay, Rick, everything's checked. You ready to roll?
I'm ready.
Oh,
Okay. Go through the slam process.
well, the first thing I would do is stop and look around. The hazard would be I would see if any rocks is falling off the loader bucket.
How do you manage that hazard?
Well, I would stay in the cab, Rick.
Good. We ready?
Wait just a minute. Let me clean my mirror.
Okay now?
Yeah.
Good.
Now what are you writing?
I gave you points for another slam.
What did I do, Rick?
Well, you stopped, you looked at the mirror, you analyzed the hazard, poor visibility. Then you managed it by cleaning and adjusting it. You're getting so good, Ed, you're slamming without even thinking about it. Where do we go now?
Well, let's head for the crusher.
Well, Ed, I think you used the SLAM program very well today.
Just like you said, Rick, it's like a checklist before you start in your task.
Well, I'm glad you could use it, Ed. But something else bothered me today. I had to remind you twice to buckle up, and I sensed a less than positive attitude about it. What gives? Ed, why don't you like seatbelts?
It's not that I don't like to wear them, Rick. I wear them in my car. I wear them in my pickup truck. I just don't like the thought of being tied in one of these big boys if they get loose. Plus, I'm always getting in and out of the truck all day long. It just becomes a hassle.
What? You think you can jump clear of this truck?
Well, yeah.
Seriously?
I know. Everybody says seatbelt saves lives, but I can't help what I feel.
Do any of the other drivers have a problem wearing seatbelts?
Rick, I don't want to get anybody into trouble.
I'll go talk to them.
Okay, we finished going through our suggestion cards. Does anyone have any new business for our SMART risk management team meeting?
Yes, sir. I found a situation that we need to address.
Well, what is it?
A few of our equipment operators aren't wearing their seatbelt.
What? Give me some names.
Hold on a minute, James. I told the guys they wouldn't get in trouble if they talked to me. I'd rather use the SMART management system to solve the problem. From what I've gathered, some of the operators have a fear of being trapped by their seatbelt if they have an accident. They are convinced that it's safer to jump from the vehicle than to ride it out. They just don't feel good about having to buckle up.
That's crazy.
Maybe it is, but there's more than one. One of the Doge operator keep a utility knife handy so he can cut the seatbelt if he get trapped.
Rick, can we run the SMART process on this?
Yes.
After all, that's what this committee is about.
Okay, let's stop and identify any past and potential accidents, injuries, and violations.
We've been very fortunate. I can't remember any accidents that resulted in an injury due to not wearing seatbelts.
True, but we've had 7 violations this year.
7? Guys, 1 is too many.
Yeah, but if we got 7 violations, how often did they drive without seatbelts and not get caught?
Good point, Rick. But maybe we need to implement stronger disciplinary actions for these unsafe acts.
Possibly, but let's not get ahead of the SMART process. We were on stop. Anything more on this? Okay, let's measure the problem. We need to determine the severity and the probability of the hazard.
Rick, the seatbelt is not a hazard. Not wearing it is a hazard. This is where the risk of injury is. A seatbelt is a personal protective equipment item, and using it reduces the likelihood of injuries.
So I think we all agree that the measure of the seatbelt is the protection it affords and the reduction of the severity of the injury in the event of an accident.
Yeah, that's common sense. Seatbelt saves lives. That brings us up to act. I still think that disciplinary action is the best way.
James, I'd like a chance to try to sell the idea to them first, rather than force disciplinary action upon them. I'd like to have a talk with all the operators one day this week.
I'm ready. Hey, Rick, what are you doing?
Glad you asked. Let me talk to you guys a minute. Do you realize that most of the fatalities involving mobile equipment that the operator is not wearing a seatbelt?
No? Oh.
So, if you think you can jump clear, or you're afraid of getting trapped in the vehicle, or for whatever reason you might have for not wearing your seatbelt, you're wrong. You're dead wrong. But think about this. If these operators had been wearing their seatbelts, they'd probably be here today. And you can bet they'd be telling us how important it is to wear your seatbelt. Think about it for a minute and look at it this way. Would you tell one of your kids to not use a seatbelt? As part of my review, I met with the equipment operators and did a spot check. Everyone I saw was wearing their seatbelts. I talked to some of them and I got the feeling that they have talked it over among themselves and have decided that seatbelts are now the smart thing to do. I also ran the stricter disciplinary actions past them that the SMART team had drafted, and there was very little opposition. It seems that for the present we have acted in an effective manner. The review of our actions has been positive, which leaves us with the training part of the SMART process. I've included the statistics I worked up in both the task and the annual training programs, along with a hands-on demonstration of the proper use of seatbelts.
The safety department, management, and the minor safety committee are all in agreement on this. Hello? Where was this? How serious is it? Okay. Ambulance on its way? Okay, we got it. We just had an accident in the quarry. Ed was going down the ramp in his haul truck, and apparently some rocks start falling from the high wall, and he swerved to try to miss it, and ran up the burn and laid the truck on his side. They think he's okay. Ashley took him to the hospital just in case. Let's go, Rick. How you doing, Ed?
Oh, I'm okay.
He said he didn't want to go to the hospital, but I took him anyway just to be safe.
So Ed, you were wearing your seatbelt.
Well, yeah. After you talked to us about it, I've been wearing it all the time.
Well, that's great, Ed.
Rick, I want to thank you for making me see the light on this seatbelt thing. I know I could have been thrown out of the cab and crushed. But then I thought about those fatalities you talked about. There wasn't time to do anything. Good thing I listened to you, Rick.
Wow. I feel like I really earned my pay this week.
You earn your pay every week.
Mr. Hines, the doctor will see you now.